So welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our annual meeting of Journal of International Students. To begin the program, I would like to invite my colleague, Dr. Chris Glass. He's the editor-in-chief of the Journal of International Student. He's an international expert of global education and the executive director of the doctoral program of higher education at Boston College. So now over to you, Dr. Glass.
Great. It's so wonderful to see so many faces, so many names that I've seen your manuscripts, your work, you've served on our board. You really are the community that we're here today. We talk about this like it's a meeting, but really it's a community. And one of the things I'm really most proud of about the journal is that we're an inclusive community. If you look at who's in the room today, we have everyone from new doctoral students to really established, well-known scholars that have been cited thousands of times. Our community is one that everyone is welcome and everyone can participate. So our goal today is that you would find a way that you could engage with the journal. You're going to see a lot of little get involved signs along the way to show you different ways you could get involved. And there's going to be many opportunities, no matter where you're coming from or what knowledge you bring to our community. We want you to be a part of it. And we also want this to be an interactive session. You'll see there'll be lots of opportunities throughout our time together for conversation in the chat box. And then when we have some of our guest speakers at the end of the session, we'll have an opportunity to engage in some really rich conversations. You'll see that one of the themes of our meeting is this idea of critical conversations. And I'm very excited about this initiative of the journal. I think this is probably the most important chapter we've ever written in the journal, what we're going to see happening this year. The term critical conversations is not just a tagline. It's not just a fancy title. It is a complete philosophy. Just like our open access philosophy is more than just being free, critical conversations is going to permeate everything we do for many years to come. We're going to highlight 3 different ways that we're hoping you might get involved as members of our peer review board, authors, editors, members of our editorial team with our critical conversations initiatives. We're going to have different guest speakers. So you're not just going to listen to myself and Krishna tonight. We're going to have leaders and doctoral students, as well as different partners that we've had speak with you. But tonight we're going to talk about 3 areas: high impact cross-border research, digital storytelling and multimedia, and voices of new generations of scholars. Let's go to the next slide. So I want to remind everybody where the journal was just over 10 years ago. This is what the website looked like. If you see, we were proud that we had 3,000 visitors to the website. That's 3,000 views, not even 3,000 visitors. When the website was just born out of a vision that there needed to be some important critical conversations about international students. As we were seeing mobility increase, the journal was really founded on this idea that we need to have critical conversations, and that continues to be our mission. Our mission really is to actively speak to the most consequential conversations in international education. And we are doing that as much now as we did in 2010. And let me tell you the different ways we are going to be doing that. Next slide. We're going to be doing this through high impact cross-border research is the first way. So let's look at some ways that we're going to talk about that and ways you might get involved. First, I'm very excited to share about our revised aims and scope. I'm really appreciative to members of our associate editor team who provided great intellectual input, and I'm excited to share more about our aims and scope tonight. We also have a new collections that involve critical research that we highlight on our website, special issues in languages outside of English that tends to be the dominant language in academic publishing, new book series and opportunities for a new type of global conference. So let's look at some of the things that we're doing with the aims and scope. Well, we've come a long way from having just 3,000 views of our website in that early years. Now we have close to 500,000 unique sessions on our website. Almost 150,000 unique visitors every year, about 8,000 individuals who are active subscribers, clicking on our emails, engaging with our research, over 4,000 authors, readers, and reviewers that are registered on our website. And as Krishna said, almost 1,000 manuscripts that we go through every single year. This wouldn't be possible except for the amazing members of our editorial team who are here today. I am proud to say, and I hope you repeat it on social media and around the world, that our journal is now the most cited journal in international education. You can see year after year, our rankings on the journal, Google Scholar have increased, which reflect the number of citations our journal is getting relative to other peer journals in the field. But I want to move quickly from this slide because that is not the headline I want you to leave with tonight. So the next slide highlights what we care about, because when we think about impact, we need to think about impact in a much broader way. We need to be thinking about impact in a way that considers diversity and inclusion. One of the things we're going to highlight tonight is the many ways in which the Google Scholar algorithm is broken. And we can work very diligently on our part, not just academic publishing that is funded primarily through corporate interests and the Google Scholar algorithm, but we are working very diligently to create an alternative model, an alternative paradigm, alternative philosophy, and we invite you to be a part of that. And so if you look at who are our authors, who are the people that are publishing our journal, you'll see that it's people from across the world, everywhere from South Africa to Thailand to Turkey to Pakistan to Norway, New Zealand, Iran, Italy, Japan, Laos, Brazil, China, Egypt, Finland, Germany, Mexico, all around the world. That's who is a part of this global community. We're really a global movement, if you want to think about it. These are the authors who've just been published in the journal the last 2 years. But if you think one of the things I would highlight that we, with the slide with Chomsky, that I would highlight is we are not in an ordinary time in international education. And I say this with great somberness. This is not a time to be talking about metrics, to be talking about the normal types of impact factors and the kinds of conventional academic conversations that have been had for generations. This is a time when humanity faces an existential crisis. In fact, multiple existential crises. The global pandemic represented an existential crisis, and we face many more of these. Noam Chomsky, who delivered the keynote address at the Star Scholars Global Conference last year, said this is the last generation that will face global climate change. Either this generation will face global climate change, or this will be the last generation. And he charged us, Krista, myself, and everyone who attended the conference, that we are at a moment where human beings have to determine whether they have the moral and intellectual capacity to join together, to cooperate, to overcome the existential problems that are global in character. That's why so much of what we're going to be doing is going to be focusing on high impact cross-border research, telling digital stories so that our research has impact, and making sure we're uplifting new generations of scholars. As you'll see again and time and again, the Google algorithm highlights old generations, people with already existing citations. We're looking to lift up new voices, and you'll hear some ways that we're doing that and how you can participate. That's next slide. We asked our readers, what conversations were you interested in? And we were very happy to see that our readers are interested. Over 45% of our readers are interested in topics like sustainability, climate change, building ecological consciousness, efforts to decolonize the curriculum, decolonize the university, promote indigenous perspectives, and work towards reconciliation of historic colonial wrongs that have been had. They're very interested in virtual mobility, exchange online learning, immigration policies that are fair and equitable and that support human rights, cross-cultural mental health and emotional well-being, and the importance of transnational lives, employment, and careers. I'm so glad Lee Tran is a part here tonight. She's done such important work in this area. Next slide. So we've completely revamped our aims and scope, and this is on our website, and you can see it, but I want to highlight that this is not just a document that lives on our website. This is going to frame everything that we do, from the way we organize our editorial team, to the special issues that we publish, to the types of research that we hope to promote. They're going to be organized around these critical topics so we can speak to the most consequential conversations, because our lives generally, or literally, humanity and the planet depends on our ability to have these conversations and to cooperate across borders. Let me give you some examples of some of the topics that are highlighted in the aims and scope. On the next slide, you'll see some more specific examples of things that we're hoping our community will explore, including systemic reforms to advance racial justice, intersectional approaches to language, culture, and identity, employment, social mobility, and multinational careers, ethical internationalization for greater inclusion and success. Hans DeWitt wrote a wonderful essay in our 10th anniversary series talking about the importance of ethical internationalization, which I think is a great charge for us at the journal. Next slide. So the other thing, and I want to thank our editorial team who provided comment on the revised aims and scope. Stephanie Kim was particularly important with some of her insights. We specifically call out the kinds of scholarship we prioritize and that we are seeking. And I want to highlight this, that we are looking clearly to advance research, but we are prioritizing scholarship that centers the perspectives of women, people of color, and communities from the global South. We appreciate the idea of thinking about community in the way that we build our scholarship. Multi-authored scholarship that spans socially constructed boundaries and borders. Those boundaries and borders might be national borders, but they could also be generational or ethnic borders, where scholars tend to not publish together or work together. We'd like to prioritize collaboration across borders and across generations. Scholarship that draws on underutilized theories, methodologies, and frameworks. We can see this if you visit our Twitter feed or LinkedIn, you can see that one of our recent authors got an award for their scholarship already as they talk about the embodiment of racism. And you can see that in the special issue that we published on critical internationalization studies. We have a new collection of articles in our critical conversation series where we're highlighting previous research that focuses on some of these critical conversations. Next slide. And then I'm going to turn it over to Krishna Vista to talk to us about our special issues.